I'll make it all come true. I'll make it all come true.
A lot of people have been requesting like a Q&A type video, because I know I do a lot of like edits and everything, but I would put a lot of like question stickers on my Instagram story and I usually get a lot of questions, but as it's always kind of the same questions coming up, I thought I'd put them all into a video so people know where to go if they have any of these questions. Excuse my nails, I only have 4 on at the minute. I don't know how that happened. With horses it's bound to happen. But I have all my questions here. So the first question was how do I balance school and horses? And to be honest, I'm getting into my last year in school at the minute, and whenever I had GCSEs, I had someone else that was looking after the horse I had at the time for me, so I didn't really get to see him at all during my GCSEs. And then we sat our GCSEs over 2 years, in 4th year and in 5th year. So in 5th year, I wasn't as stressed with it, so I did keep seeing him, and I did do quite well. I was happy with what I got, but like I know if I hadn't have seen him I probably could have done better. But this year with COVID and everything, I've just decided that my horses are my priority at the minute because they're like my babies. So I'm still seeing them. I would do like as much work as I can in like my wee free periods in school. I would do all my homework like as soon as I got home, and then off to see the horse, but I only part load him. So that is quite helpful, that I only have to part load him, so I only see him 3 or 4 days a week. I only work 1 day a week, sometimes 2, so that's really not a problem. And then the only other thing I really do is like driving lessons, so I really, it's not that difficult for me, but I understand people that like would own horses instead of part loading them would have like a lot more commitments, and it would be so much more difficult to handle. Anyway, on to the next question, which was how long have I been riding for? Now, I get this question at least 4 or 5 times every time I put a question sticker up. And I've actually been riding for 8 years. It was 8 years in August. And I got my first riding lesson for my 10th birthday, so I'm 18 now. And my first riding lesson was for my 10th birthday, and I had been begging for years to have a riding lesson, but it just started from there really. And 8 years, people have their own horses by now and they're all like doing all this fancy competition stuff. I'm happy with my little lone pony. I wouldn't have the time to own one, so I'm really happy with the arrangement I have at the minute. Next question is what would I like to achieve with Mourinho, who's my little lone pony. To be honest, I'm not actually sure, because I don't have any transport at the minute, because I don't have a box and I also can't drive, never mind tow. So if I do get transport, I would love to bring him some working hunters, because he would do really, really well. I would like to try some show jumping and a bit of dressage, but I think our main thing would be working hunter, because he's just like, if you've seen him jump, I'll probably put some clips in at some point. Good boy! But if you've seen him jump, he's so cool, and his flat work is amazing as well whenever he's behaving and not taking off. Yeah, next question is what is my highest dressage score? I had to like search through all my little score sheets, because I keep them all. I had to search through all my score sheets to find this one, but it was 72.17 on my old lone pony Porsche, and unfortunately it was our only show we ever got to do, because she had an navicular, and shortly after this she went really lame and just couldn't, like, she could still be like hacked and stuff, but it was just better for her to kind of have an easier life and chill in the field. So I had moved on from her and got a new pony. But for dressage, she was incredible. She was such a good horse, and I actually could have, I know it's gonna sound so like cocky, but I know I could have done better that day, because she was so lazy. Like, I couldn't get any of my transitions as sharp as I wanted them. She was just so lazy. I forgot my whip as well. But yeah, it was 72.17. Yeah. Next we have how old is Mourinho. He's actually 18. He came from Spain as a 4-year-old. So he's been in this country, he's been in Ireland for 14 years. and he's actually the same age as me, which is really like cute, I think. No one else thinks it's cute, but I think it's cute. How did I get to work with Copa Equestrian? So for any of you that don't know, I'm a brand ambassador for a little business called Copa Equestrian. They're only just starting up, but basically there was a brand ambassador search on their Instagram, which is copa.equestrian. I'll like tag them in the little description below this. But there's a brand ambassador search and I applied for it, and I was lucky enough to get selected as one of their brand ambassadors. And it's handy enough that the company is based really close to me, to where I live, so for all the photo shoots and stuff, it's handy for me to be there. I'm also a photographer, so I do take quite a lot of their photos, or I'm in quite a lot of their photos. And also the owner really likes the look of my pony, so he's also in a lot of their photos. He's the little grey on their Instagram. But yeah, it's a really, really lovely company, and I love all their clothes. There's their foam pocket riding leggings and their training tees. I have both, and I'm going to order their black training tee, which I don't have yet, but that'll be getting ordered very soon. Very soon. But yeah, if you want to like check them out, Instagram will be mentioned below, and if you go onto my Instagram, which is EllianRalph1, I tag them in every single post, and there's reviews throughout my page, and there's a highlight as well in my little like highlight section, which is talking about them. But yeah, I'm really, really happy to be working with them because they're such a good company, and I can't recommend them enough. Next question is, who's my dream sponsor? So as I love Copa. I would love to be sponsored by like Equestrian Stockholm or PS of Sweden, because they're matchy like saddle pads. I just love them. I love dressing the ponies up, and the ponies hate it. They really hate it, but I just love it. And I know they only have like the top of the top, like famous people riding for them, but I still want them. Like, you can always dream. But yeah, definitely one of them too. They're like, oh, I have so many of their saddle pads. Like, I have a ridiculous amount of them, and it would just be so nice to like not have to spend all my money on them all the time. But anyway, the next question is, what's my dream horse box? And this is a tricky one because, again, as I said earlier, I can't drive, never mind tow. I've never even thought about getting a horse box because I'm far too young to be able to drive it. So honestly, just one with wheels, one that travels places, one that can have a horse in the back. I'm not really fussy, just anything that I could get my hands on I would take. I think my dad can tow, but he just doesn't. He'll have a tow bar in his car. But yeah, I would take anything. Anything at all. I'm gonna end up hacking to like half my shows at this point, I think. But so aim with horses in general, right? This is a tricky one because obviously everyone says, oh, I want to go to the Olympics, which, you know, fair play if you go to the Olympics. I don't think that'll be me. But I would love to ride at Dublin Horse Show or Balmoral. Both really aren't that big. Everyone's like, oh, that's not a big deal, like everyone rides at them. I know it's not a big deal, but it's a big deal for me. I would love to go. I would love to. Probably Balmoral is like more achievable than Dublin, but I would love to go to Balmoral or Dublin and just ride about, show off my pony. Don't really care if I win or not. Just let him look pretty, and I'll be all dressed up, and we can get loads of nice photos. That's all you really want, really. Just get nice photos. I'll see him at every competition in my head anyway. The favourite horse I've ever ridden and why. So I'm actually going to think about this one because there's been loads of horses like in my life that they're just like my babies. I just love them. But riding school horses, I would have to say maybe like Ralph, who my Instagram account's named after. He is a riding school horse for anyone curious. It's from like, I'm going to say 6 or so years ago now. I just never changed the account. But he was just so safe, and I had so many confidence knocks and concussions and all that, and he was just like the one that I would always get put on, and they were like, right, see it, get your confidence back, and then I get put on the crazy horses again. But he just has like a place in my heart. He was just such a wee cutie. He was such a gem, and he was really big. He was like 16'2" or something, and I'm not that tall, so that's massive for me. But he has like a place in my heart. My first ever lone pony, Barney, who threw me off all the time. he had a special place in my heart. He's actually retired now, but he was such a gem. He took me around my first ever shows, show jumping and dressage, and he was just incredible. I loved him because he was such a challenge, and he taught me to sit like pretty much anything. Like he was a nightmare, but he was like a good nightmare. Katie, who was another lone horse I had, she was an ex-racer, and she was always like cutting herself, and she was always injured in some way, and she probably has a special place in my heart for a different way, because I trained her up with one of my friends. We trained her up from, you know, she wasn't really the nicest looking whenever she was being ridden, but by the end of my time with her, we'd done a good few show jumping shows and a good lot of dressage, and she was actually trained up to novice level, which I know again isn't a lot for some people, but it's a big deal for me. But with her always injuring herself, she made me like really realise that I wanted to like help animals in the future and like work with them. So like, as well as her being like a gem to ride and all of that, it was just, it's nice to like, she has a place in my heart for teaching me like what I wanted to do and giving me all the opportunities to work with so many vets, which is really bad to say, but it's true. Porsche, again, she was just so cool. She was a gem. I didn't have her for long, but she just for how good she was, and she taught me a lot to do with dressage, she's up there. The General, who was my last lone horse, I had him for like 2 years. He was incredible. He taught me how to ride. I did my first ever working hunter on him, my first ever showing classes on him, and he was just always in the ribbons. Show jumping, always in the ribbons. Dressage, always in the ribbons. He was just, oh, he was incredible, and it was so nice to like get to experience everything with him and bring him all these places and get all the compliments about how good he was looking, because he was an older boy, he was 21. It was just, oh, even talking about him makes my heart hurt a little bit. He was so good. And then obviously last but not least, there's my little Mourinho, who I have now. I don't actually think I've ever sat on a horse like with so much potential. He's only 15 too, like he is quite little, but it's a good height for me. But everything he does is jumping. He'll never knock a pole. He can do all that like pony speed round turns. His dressage, he is incredible. He's like done up to elementary with his owner, and he is, oh, his canter and everything he's to die for, because he's an Andalusian as well, so his movement, oh, it's so nice to look at. But and then working hunter, obviously, with the mix of his flat work and his jumping, I would just love to see what he could do, really, because I've only had him about a month, so we're still like getting to know each other and everything, but I can't wait to see what the future has in store for us and everything. But yeah, thank you for watching, because that's all my questions. I only picked like the top 10. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, can you give this video a little like and maybe subscribe? And if you're really feeling fancy, you can leave a comment, but like no pressure to do anything. And I'd like to say I'll have a video up next week, maybe not. But until next week, hopefully. Bye.